What's going on, everyone? Today I want to go over Tribbie's value in version 3.7 and if she is worth your pulls at E0 or E1. Now, before I talk about that, let's just address power creep. A lot of people are afraid of pulling on rerun banners no matter who is on that banner because of the fact that it's a rerun, and to a lot of people, they genuinely have the mentality that every unit that comes out in Honkai Star Rail gets power crept 2 to 3 patches after their release. Now with DPSs, you can apply this in a handful of scenarios. That's a topic for a whole nother video. But with supports, we don't see the same extent of power creep as what we see with DPSs. With supports, how many do you think have fallen off to the point where they're not usable anymore? They're not viable and they're trash. Zero supports have gotten to that state. If we're talking tier 4, tier 5, even anything below tier 1, it has not happened yet. Any support, any Harmony unit specifically, 5-star Harmony unit at that, is either tier 0 or tier 0.5. That includes Sparkle, Red May, Bronya, anybody. They're all good. Now, what this means is if you are afraid of pulling on Tribbie's banner because she's going to get power crept anyways, in quotation marks, it's not going to happen. Is there going to be a Harmony unit that comes out in the next 8 months or so that will be better than Tribbie in a lot of scenarios? Yes, we saw this with Red May. Not a lot of people are using Red May anymore, but that doesn't change the fact that she is still good. I still use my Bronya, I still use my Sparkle, I still use my Red May. I use them more than I use new gen supports. I don't even have Sunday or Robin because I never needed them. Having older supports is good enough, and if you pull Tribbie, you will get insane amounts of long-term value out of her. Now, if you do not have Tribbie at all on your account, should you get her? Yes. Do you need to get her? No. The thing with Tribbie is, other than having Tessa's Dance on her, she doesn't really do a lot for your team other than the old type res pen, because her kit is more so meant to be a sub DPS, and none of her buffs scale off of any of her own substats, meaning that everybody's Tribbie at E0, S0 will buff your team to the same extent for the most part. But 25% all type res pen is definitely quite a lot. And with Tribbie, even at E0, S0, you will definitely notice this. There's only one scenario where you do not need to pull Tribbie, and I would recommend against it, is if you're already all set in terms of both quality and quantity for Harmony units. If you literally have every other Harmony unit in the game other than Tribbie, you probably don't need Tribbie. She's not best in slot for casters, she's not best in slot for a lot of different team comps, although there are some where she is, and that's something that you're going to have to figure out yourself, because Tribbie's the kind of unit right now where she's only extremely worth it and you have to get her if you have a team comp where Tribbie is best in slot. Otherwise, she's one of those units where you get her, she will go crazy, otherwise you don't need her. Now, if you already have Tribbie and you want to know if the A1 is worth it, the answer is going to be yes, but it's not going to be that crazy. Tribbie's Eidolon 1 is absolutely bonkers. There's no doubt about that. You can do some crazy stuff with the 24% true damage. But is this crazy enough to the point where it's going to make the difference between a 10 cycle clear and a 4 cycle clear? No. And like I said, the Eidolon 1 is crazy, but you have to focus on your priorities. Do you want the Eidolon 1 for Tribbie, or do you want your first ever copy of Hyacinth? Or maybe this patch you can get Hyacinth's Light Cone. I did make a video going over who you should pull in version 3.7 where I talked about all 7 of the banners, but again, the only downside to pulling Tribbie potentially is maybe you miss out on somebody else's banner in 3.7. Otherwise, every single person will benefit from having Tribbie on their account versus not having Tribbie on their account. There are some things that she can do that other Harmony units cannot do, and of course, vice versa, which is why I said that she's not going to be this crazy unit that deletes every other support from the meta and they're all bad because of Tribbie. She's a good unit, but what we're seeing in Honkai Star Rail right now is an oversaturation of Harmony units. There's so many options that you can pick and choose from because none of them are severely getting power crept like what we're seeing with DPSs. You look at DPSs, for example, and I would never ever recommend you to pull on a rerunning DPS from before 3.0. But with Harmony units, they can come out with a Bronya banner and I would still say that it's a pretty good option. Sparkle rerun, still a good option. Red May, if she were to ever get a banner again, which I highly doubt, good option. And again, this applies to Tribbie as well. She is better than the previous Harmony units that came before her for the most part, but you just don't need her. right? I didn't want to say that right now. I wanted to sugarcoat it, but flat out, you don't need Tribbie. So Tribbie is the kind of character you get where you only pull her if you either need her or you want her. You're not going to waste your pulls by getting Tribbie, but just be careful in case there's a character in 3.7 or 3.8 that catches your eye more than someone like Tribbie, right? But if you're a fanatic Tribbie fan, if you're an avid Tribbie lover, and you think it's not worth it getting the E1 or even the light cone, just go for it. Absolutely go for it. You will shine with the vertical investment. That Tribbie will never fall off. She will still be good 5 years from now. So I'll end this one off here. I have nothing else to say. I'll see y'all. Goodbye.